Hi, people. Welcome to another very big edition of Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. I'm grateful, as always, to have you here. My name is Fiifi-Manfred. Thank you very much for choosing me on Fiifi-Manfred. If you're not subscribed to the channel, do pause the video, go back, subscribe to the channel. Yeah, I said that. If you've not subscribed to the channel, pause the video, go back and subscribe to the channel. My name is Fiifi-Manfred. This is Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Over here, we give you the best of everything sports analysis, everything across every scope of the game. It is here that you do get it best. So stay stuck here, enjoy the analysis. But before you do that, turn on your notification bell. There is going to be an option, and make sure you do choose all in there. Choose all and then turn on notification bell. My name is Fiifi-Manfred. There's a lot to unpack here for you on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. It's an exciting day. We'll get into our quick talk through of the African Cup of Nations that's going on in La Côte d'Ivoire. Big stuff had happened. Amadou Haidara, Yves Bissouma, and of course, Aliou Dieng in the middle of the pack were impeccable and they got a job done against the South African counterpart. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about how Namibia got their first win ever in African Cup of Nations and their second goal ever. And it was some brilliant stuff. We'll talk about how the Stallions of Burkina Faso got a job done against the Mauritanians. So, again, this Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube will discuss a lot. Do you know why Chelsea went away and they were not charged by the Premier League's sustained laws of financial sustainability rules? I'll tell you why Chelsea were not charged. I'll tell you the secret behind why Chelsea were not dog points as with respect to the Premier League financial and sustainability rules. I'll tell you about it. And then there is a big conversation about Mauricio Pochettino and where Chelsea have got into. For the people that believe that there should be no poach out stuff, they seem to be getting it all right. They seem to be being on the right direction. They seem to feel like now they are being vindicated. Chelsea are just 2 games away from equaling the number of wins that last season Chelsea had, and they are 17 games away till the end of the season. 17 games more, and Chelsea are just 2 games away from the number of wins that they had last season. Brilliant stuff. And the only form of comparison that you can do is where Chelsea were last season and where Chelsea are this season. It is imperative that we have the conversation in that context. Also, somebody asked me, why is that Manchester City are conceding a lot of goals this time? I'll tell you about the secret of Manchester City, of how they've ceded control and how Arsenal have the control but are not scoring so much. We'll talk about all of that and more here on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. But let's get straight into the conversation. So, you may be asking yourself, why is it that Chelsea, Everton is going to possibly be deducted points again? Nottingham Forest has been charged. They've been found guilty. So the Premier League and profit and sustainability rules essentially is about their form of FFP. In Italy, it's also done. Usually, they want to make sure that clubs are making profit. They are not spending more than they are making. And they check, of course, your cash inflow and then your expenditure, right? So the accounts people will tell you, if your expenditure, of course, exceeds your cash inflow, then you're in trouble. The business is not seen as viable, especially if that goes on for a very long time. So you remember Newcastle, Nottingham Forest for one. Their manager, their owner actually, who is a Greek, had bought loads of players, and of course the wage bill was always going to balloon. Also, before the season started and Chelsea started buying players for 1 billion and whatnot, some of the conversations that we were having was about Chelsea's wage bill, how that was going to affect Chelsea's wage bill, and then how Chelsea may be found culpable of FFP. And I remember doing a lot of analysis saying that, you see, Todd Boehly and Baghdad Eghbali and then the ownership of Chelsea are actually pure geniuses. So you can say whatever you want to say about their line of vision when it comes to Chelsea Football Club and then running of the club. But essentially, their day-to-day activity and everything that they do encompasses the fact that they are top-level IQ guys. So immediately they came to Chelsea Football Club, one of the things that they saw at the club was that there is no exchange of data amongst the various departments at Chelsea Football Club. So The youth team doesn't exchange data with the senior team. The junior teams doesn't exchange data with the youth team. The female team don't exchange data. There's no data sharing in Cobham. And it was weird for them. Now, given everything that the club had gone through, given the instability around the club around the time, Chelsea were finding it hard to get sponsors. And almost everybody, like 3 that were there, wanted to leave. The new ones that wanted to come were not offering good money for Chelsea, especially given how they had suffered last season with respect to results. And now people did not believe that Chelsea are going to get to the top and the pinnacle of European football in recent times. So then nobody really wanted to invest their money in the club. Now, Todd Bowley Baghdad Egbali contacted an old friend of theirs who had invested at a certain point in time in their equity firms. Now, these guys are equity guys. Essentially, they buy properties that are ailing, businesses that are ailing, and then they rejuvenate them. They put them back into place where with cash injection, good managerial practices, and whatnot. Because this is what they do. It's their stock in trade. So they had a client who had bought an old sports app. And the sports app essentially was to collect data, use data, check player health and whatnot. And when he bought it, he had been able to scale it up via their advice to make it a viable company in just a few years. So they contacted him and said, hey, you know, we need somebody to sponsor Chelsea Football Club. And we need a company. We need to make our books good. If we're unable to do that, given the fact that we've bought 1 billion, we may suffer when the Premier League comes to do their own checks of sustainability and profits stuff in our books. So we need to make sure that we balance it. We need money from you. Every other person that's in the ecosystem that will ideally give Chelsea money, we're not giving them money because, of course, hey, you're not going to play in the Champions League. You're not even playing in Europa. You're not even playing in Conference League. It was a big deal at the time. So they contacted the Infinite Athlete owner, spoke to him, and he wanted to give Chelsea 40 million quid per year. In fact, started around 50 million, 45 million. A lot of the clubs, when this story was out and he had gone to the Premier League board, they wanted to check the viability of the company, if truly the company existed, and all of those nitty-gritties the book-long stuff. Premier League clubs were unhappy because a lot of the clubs didn't want Chelsea to go through it. They wanted Chelsea to suffer it and then have issues. Then all of a sudden they were able to go through it unscratched, and then Chelsea were able to get the money on their books. I know that those money are never going to go to Todd Bowley and Baghdad Egbali. They are just going to be on their books, just so there's a perception that they are not failing in there. Fast forward. Throughout all this time that Chelsea were buying players, one of the key reasons why they wanted to buy young players was not just because they wanted to stockpile on the top talent in the world. I mean, of course, that's part of the reasons. One of the things they wanted to do was that they wanted a performance-enhanced wage bill, such that if there's a 22-year-old Enzo Fernandez coming from Benfica, you can manage how much is given rather than a 26-year-old, say, Angel Di Maria, also from Benfica. Why? Angel Di Maria is 26. He has signed multiple contracts before. Now he knows exactly what he wants at age 26, 27, 28, 29. By Enzo, this is a big one. So you give him a smaller contract, then you tie performance enhancement to it and say, okay, if you get this, we add this. If you do this, we add that. If you do that, we do this. And that has been brilliant. So Chelsea's wage bill was reduced. Selling of Kalidou Koulibaly, selling of Edouard Mendy, selling of other players out of Chelsea's wage bill. In fact, some of the most expensive of Chelsea's wage bills. Kai Havertz, Macy Mount, all of those guys left Chelsea's wage bill, and it reduced the wage bill drastically. So I'm sure you've heard that the Premier League teams have gone, they've had a sit-in, they've gone through the reports, and then Chelsea have been vindicated. They've not been found culpable of any Premier League financial and sustainability rules. In fact, it is Everton and the Nottingham Forest that have been found wanting, and Chelsea seem to be going out on scratch. And I think that's brilliant stuff, Charlie. Especially looking at where the club have been and how Baghdad Egbali and Todd Bowley have run the club, still making investment for the club, but doing it the right way. The only thing is that it just has to come together so that it manifests into point. That's the only part of the conversation that's left with Chelsea and Baghdad Egbali and then the players and where the club is right now. Guys, if you've not subscribed to the channel, you need to pause the video now, go back and subscribe to the channel I put in blood, sweat, and everything for you. You need to subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed to the channel, and do turn on notification. I do this with all my heart. Sometimes I'm up at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. doing this with everything that I have in me for you. So make sure you go back, subscribe to the channel. It's important that you subscribe to the channel. I'm about to go to the Mauricio Pochettino conversation, but just before that, let's talk about Josep Guardiola. In comparison with Arsenal, and why Pep Guardiola's teams are conceding a lot of goals. So one of the things I've been saying for the longest times in recent times is that if you look at Arsenal this season, what Mikel Arteta has sought to do is to cede control. Is to cede the flamboyancy of the game, scoring too many goals and whatnot, and then get control. So Arsenal playing games where it is very difficult for them to beat, say, Brentford, but they are in total control of the game on and off the ball. Then Kai Havertz comes on, score just one goal, and it has happened several times. For Manchester City, they do not really care about control these times because one, Pep has moved from just having center backs that are just good on the ball. Now he has excellent box defenders. So he doesn't necessarily have to have too much control, and that was Pep's undoing, especially in that Champions League final against Chelsea. He doesn't necessarily have to have too much control to have the ball, and then usually sometimes when you have too much of the ball, you even make too many mistakes because you have the ball. So he has ceded that, thrown that away, but he has been more direct, especially in breaking down teams. No extra touches or whatnot. Has Bernardo to deal with the control stuff in the middle of the park. Sometimes there's Rodri every time, but he's also more fixated about the verticality of the game, and I think that's the reason why Manchester City are conceding a lot of goals this time as compared to teams like Arsenal and Liverpool and whatnot, which is very important. Before I get into the Chelsea matter again, I need to talk about Barcelona. I hear the report on Spain that Zavi Hernandez are under a lot of pressure, and most of the people, the fans, the players, are beginning to turn on him. They don't really believe in the job of Zavi Hernandez and what he can do as a manager. And all of a sudden, people are beginning to ask questions. People are beginning to look over their shoulders. People are beginning to feel like Zavi isn't the man for the job. You see, he had to learn on the job. He had to come into the Barcelona team as a little bit unstable for them to bring in some fairly good players this time. But Barca aren't there yet. I think it's just going to take time. It's important that given everything that FC Club Barcelona has gone through, they need to be patient with Xavi. It shouldn't just happen like that, okay, Xavi gets under pressure, and then the board accepts that Xavi is under pressure, and then let us go. Let us let him go. No. That's going to be one of the worst decisions that the club has ever made. Financially, and then even ideologically as a coach, it's important that they keep Zavi Hernandez in there as the manager, at least to the end of the season. Then you assess him, give him new targets, and see how best he can get to them. Then later you make a decision based on all of those things that are going on with him. So yeah, I mean, whilst Barca are struggling, Ancelotti is using functional play and the a-positional way of playing, or relationism to conquer all across Europe. I mean, he beat Barcelona the last time, played some exciting football, players in between the lines, Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo Goes, brilliant stuff. And that's exactly what Ancelotti is doing. Whilst Mourinho has been sacked from his job, Ancelotti seems to be going in leaps and bounds, which is important. Very, 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 very important. Going in leaps and bounds. So, yeah. And now, maybe you don't know, but Mauricio Pochettino is just 2 wins away from equaling Chelsea's win tally last season. That is big, exciting news. Because last season was shambolic. And if any manager is able to come in and get a job done in terms of getting results and whatnot, that is good stuff. Again, Chelsea are returning to training today. Christopher Nkunku is back in training. Benoit Belachile is back in training. Benjamin Chilwell is back in training. A load of the team, Kani Chukwuemeka, is back in full-time training. And it looks as if the team is going to be set for the long term. And if there are no new injuries, definitely they are going to be at a good place. Pochettino has said that he wants to go on, gather momentum, let the boys to rest, go into the next subsequent games that are coming, make sure that they go in all guns blazing and get the needed points that they need to get to stay up there. It's just a point away from the guys on top of them. But Chelsea need to start getting the points in now. I mean, 2 cup games are on the horizon. After that, there are very, very important league games that are coming. Get to the Carabao Cup final. Begin to win games in the league consistently, and then you are there. it is not even a big deal as much as you see it. So it's important. Hey guys, this is where I bring to you the end of today's edition of Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. My name is Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. It has been an honor to have you here. Thank you very much for choosing me. I want to hear from you in the comment section. I want to hear from you in the comment section. Again, thank you very much for choosing me. My name is Fiifi-Manfred. Thank you.